Okay, welcome. As you have seen, there was only one name at the program, which was Floris. Floris is sitting over there. We're going to talk about Open Singularity education in Drupal. Also, a special welcome to the viewers at home. Hi, Mom, at City. All good things come in threes. That's why we do it with the three of us. I will talk about what we did with the DrupalTrainingDay a month ago, because we did something very, very awesome, and we would like to try and copy the concept to other communities. So maybe there will be a chance for that. After that, Floris will talk about some open education systems, tools and things like that. And after that, Hans will be speaking about certification in the broadest sense of the word, basically. So we're with the three of us. Oh, that was the wrong button. We would like to know who's in the audience. So I've got a couple of questions for you. First one is there anyone working in education? Please raise your hand. Two of them, actually. And are there people active in communities, open source communities within the education part? See someone in the back? Two of them, okay. Any people active in Drupal? Oh, okay. Welcome. Well, so I know a little bit about who's in the audience. That's great. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the DrupalTrainingDay success story. In January of this year, we started out with 9 people from the Drupal community and also from Drupal companies, because we are in definite need of good Drupal developers. And schools throughout Holland and also Belgium aren't paying that much attention to open source and open standards in education. But we need the people because we got a lot of business for it. So what we did, there's one foundation called Stichting Drupal Nederland, who asked some people in the community, can you please organize a Drupal training day for students in the Netherlands and in Belgium, so that we can make the community bigger and also try and spot extra talent to employ at our companies. So we were one foundation with 9 people of us, and we had one dream. We really would like to have 50 students at our Drupal Training Day, which we organized at the 26th of September. And that was the Friday before the week in Amsterdam that is called the DrupalCon, the biggest conference in Europe, where I thought 2,300 people gathered to have a con about Drupal. What actually happened was this. 250 showed up. And we had 35 trainers. We had basically, the amount of students we aimed for were actually the amount of trainers who were there to spread the Drupal word. We had even 80 more on the waiting list, which is on the next slide. And we did 5 different workshops. We also had a workshop for the trainers, for the teachers. But we did programming, we did content management, well, you can see it on the slide. And next to the 80 on the waiting list, there were also 60 more students from the University of Ghent who called a week before, can we please join in too? So basically, it was way much more than we ever dreamed for or hoped for. How many? How did you do that? Well, actually, it took a lot of effort. There were 9 of us. We started out in January. We met up online every week. And what we did to get this much students is we contacted every high school, every university, every MBO, which I don't know the English term for that. MBO?
College, yeah.
College, basically.
Follow up from college.
Yeah, follow up from college, yeah, in the Netherlands and in Belgium, in the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium, to get students over there. And there were actually a lot of schools coming with whole classes to our day, and we didn't see that one coming at first, but so it took a lot of effort, but we put the effort in already. So we got the lists of all the coordinators at the high schools and at the colleges and at the universities. So we have that for other communities if they want to use this. So what's next? Of course we want to do more. We want to keep calm and try to take over the world. Of course, not only with Drupal. These were some interested local communities from other countries. What we did after the training day at the Monday prior to the DrupalCon was participate in the community summit, where we had different Drupal communities from all over the world told this story about how successful this day was at our community and how they could translate that to their communities and use our materials and use our distribution, for instance, our Drupal distribution, which is already made for subscription of students and things like that. And there were some Belgium and Hungary. I'm even missing Germany, I see, because there were also some Germans who were translating all of our mailings and stuff like that already to their languages to use it over there. So we're trying to broaden this this concept and try to well, at least within the Drupal community, but our dream would be to get it out of the Drupal community, and perhaps we can have a Ubuntu training day or a KDE training day or a GIMP training day or anything else. But we have a lot of interested local communities, so Drupal communities, and we really want to have more communities involved. And the thing is, you can not start too early with this. Last week I heard Nelly Cruz saying you should teach kids programming at primary school. Start early. That's why I put the book in. Start early with learning kids how to code, because it's the new language. Just do this, and we really want to share this, and we really want to help other people who want to copy this from us. So after this talk you can talk to us, and we really want to help you and share our ideas about how to raise a training day like this, because it was awesome. It was so fucking awesome to see, sorry for the F word, to see 250 students in that room just wanting to learn open source. Do it, please talk to us, we want to help you. Thank you.
Right, I'm going to speak to you about two things. First of all, the importance of open source in education. You probably all know about examples, and oh well, let's do it like this. Why open source is important in education. Besides that, I'm going to zoom in several open source Drupal distributions who can be easily downloaded and used in daily practice. So you can, after this, you can use them tomorrow. Open source software has its is originally open source. During the 80s, it became something proprietary. And one of the first origins is from Richard Salmon, who wrote the first piece of open source software, which was a printer driver, because he was very frustrated about Xerox. Why else would you use open source in education? Because it really integrates well with existing projects in daily practice. Also, with open source, you have a very good source which explains how it's done, and all the best practices are included. So instead of starting from scratch with a white sheet and writing your code down, it's better to use existing software and build functionality on top of that. So you prevent reinventing the wheel all the time. So what do you need for open source? Also well known, I think, here. The program must be freely distributed. The source must be included, of course. Anyone should be able to modify it and spread it around. And a very important one is that the license must not require or exclude the use of other software. So everybody's free to use these little blocks in whatever combination that they desire. So it's free as in beer. So this means that the user has the freedom to change, implement, and do whatever they like with it, as long as adaptation and improvements are shared back to the community. How can you make money out of this? Well, it's pretty easy. The custom extensions could be paid for. Consultancy integration can deliver money. And of course, maintenance and support. You have to maintain any system, else it will collapse. So that can also give us money. And training, that's a very important one. Besides the free accessible training that we did at Training Day, one could imagine that a deep dive for a company could give us revenues. Nancy already asked some directions in use of open source in education, so I'm not going to zoom into that one. It's more important. It's more interesting to look at some distributions. I've handpicked 5 of them. 4 of them are quite easy to follow, targeted at specific knowledge groups. The Julio is targeted when you want to have an easy community and build that and have some kind of interaction between this community. It doesn't do SCORM. It's pretty easy to install. Opinio is the one I'll give you a short demo about. That's a very nice e-learning platform which does SCORM 2004. So it's easy, interchangeable in the lesson programs. Also quite easy to install. It's got its origins in France educational system. Sorry, you've got a question?
They don't know what SCORM is.
SCORM is a ISO standard in a way that learning management systems should inter-exchange learning methods and examination information. Very good question, thank you. I should have put that in before to explain that. No, but viewers at home might also not know this. The Open Scholar is more like a portfolio for researchers that you can easily put online and that they can have their own custom colors and appearance on it and express their work and show it to the world. It's also quite easy to install, and it's been developed for Harvard University. Don't touch the machine. Open Academy is also a very nice distribution for university faculties, but also middle schools or MBOs. And it's been developed by Berkeley University, and it makes a faculty website out of a box. We've got some screenshots with that. This Julio is quite low level, targeted at these schools, school districts, small colleges, academic departments within universities. But it can also be used for something like a handball club, for example. Open Scholar, like I said, it's has the portfolio for the researchers, and as well has the opportunity to organize university data flows and workflows. And the Open Academy has the faculty in a box. Opinjo is the one I'm going to show you around in, and it makes it possible to have an e-learning solution ready. And we also prepared an instance of this for everyone who is interested to make an account on and to start playing around with. Hans will show you the links at the last slide to that. So I'm going to switch over a little bit. Whoop. It has the ability to create courses, organize them in a training schedule, from there on have people collaborate together and do the exams, of course, have a certificate when you're done with the exam, and you can have a nice administration workflow where you can get plots of all the scores and what the students did. So I just prepared one demo quiz, so you can take the quiz. The question is, what's the answer? 42. Almost. It's just a blank question, so the answer might be answer. Pretty straight. Well, if I can type right, maybe I can do it right. What?
What is the answer?
No, the answer is
what?
What? Yeah, that could be an option as well, but I chose to have the answer to the question to be answered. You can also use something like matching, like here we have 1, so I have to match one of these 3 numbers. Pretty hard to. No, I think I'll take this one. And you can also set it to have these things in random order, so they can't interchange the options of the questions to the next chair. And 2. I think it will be 2. When I'm done, I'll get a nice overview of the scores that I made. And since I prepared the questions myself, obviously everything is right. And from here on, I could add more and more questions and some videos for tutorials, and then print a nice certificate out of it. So that's pretty nice. However, if you are in a larger university or organization, you would like to have more of these kinds of open learning systems. And therefore there is a quite new initiative which is called the Electronic Learning Management System Learning Network. The name is very complex because it first got to be the Electronic Learning Management System, and then these things got networked together. So the name is maybe not really cool, but the system itself is very cool. Since it goes around one, this guy, course information system, which can be seen as a, something like an LDAP or a central point where all the information about the students and the faculties and the teachers is known. From there on, you can link it via encrypted XML to satellite systems. And these satellite systems, they can do things like collaboration tools where people can work together on their projects. You can have course information systems in there. You can have a course object repository, which you can take out of objects and use them in another course. And you can have electronic learning management media systems, also known as video tutorials. In an image, it would look like this. So here, in the center, there is this central information system, and each and every one of these little circles around them can be used in an educational landscape in an arbitrary way. So each can be interchanged with a newer version or with a different course, with different requirements, and so maybe not use media, but the next thing, 3D, whatever objects come around, in order to facilitate the learning. A new prototype can be used and implemented. This does not necessarily have to be Drupal. It can be WordPress or Joomla or whatever system that's able to talk XML. And about any self-respecting system can talk XML these days. So this is, for me, it's the future of educational landscape, where the central thing, which currently has to be Drupal, is linked with the university database where all the students are put in, and from there on, these satellites are fed information and can work together. I'm going to switch again. Voor de opname. Oh. Oké.
Oké. Hier in helft geflikt.
Well, in education, obviously, one of the major goals is to have people some tangible evidence of the fact that they have ascertained a certain knowledge. Certification comes into that, and traditionally, closed source software vendors have been very strong in pushing their own certification schemes like MCSE, Oracle trainings, and stuff like that. Within the open source communities, long time, there was this notion, well, if you can perform your duties in a efficient and proficient manner, then certification doesn't mean that much. But obviously, companies who are hiring people have to have some kind of basis on which they can simply compare people resumes. So certificates come in handy. Also in educational facilities, certification is a very concrete, tangible goal to achieve. Well, in recent years there has been a lot of improvement in the area of open source software certifications, and we have been looking at a couple of pretty widespread and adopted versions of it. Most notably, obviously, the LPI. Actually, a person from the LPI is holding a talk at this very same moment next door, which is a bit unfortunate, but still. LPI has become one of the major leaders in Linux certification and has been cooperating pretty well with other parties within the Linux ecosystem. Linux Foundation has since recently also decided to bring a certification process to the table. What I personally find very interesting about Linux Foundation certification is the fact that it also includes community distributions like OpenSUSE, for instance. This helps because new technology evolves fast, is usually adopted earlier in community distributions and then moves up the enterprise ladder. Aside from LPI and Linux Foundation, you also have CompTIA certifications and a broad range of loosely in open source oriented courses in learning providers like the LOI, which is a written course provider in the Netherlands. So actually there's quite a lot already in the field of certification. Also, and I obviously have pushed the wrong button as well. Yes, I love Apple. We have the Open Access Week at the moment, which is a great initiative to spread research, information and knowledge. The goal of Open Access is simply to interchange information, and by exchanging information, enable people and researchers to correlate that data and information and build bigger practices on top of that. The great part is that it's actually a non-threatening way of sharing knowledge and building on top of the shoulders of giants, if you may say that. And hopefully, yay! Right button. Also in the Linux hemisphere, there's quite a lot of resources being poured into the development of educational Linux distributions, and these are sometimes community efforts like OpenSUSE EduLive, which is a community distribution from the SUSE Linux distribution, specifically aimed at primary schools and high schools with all sorts of nice educational tools, word learning, grammar learning, drawing, you name it, all kinds of tools are packed in there. Ubuntu is also something like that, but then obviously based on that other distribution. You also have a couple of localized distributions being sponsored by countries or regions, like Scholar Linux from Norway, which is actually a government-sponsored distribution that is being aligned with the curriculum of the Norwegian school curriculum each year. And each year they release a new version which tightly integrates with their school program, which is beautiful because every school can simply offer the same infrastructural basis for their courses on top of that. Linux from the Extremadura region in Spain, which is also, Spain is actually quite active in development and promotion of open source software. So there's quite a lot being done, and all these distributions also in one way or the other kind of cooperate in using the same software, redistributing it, and also translating it. One of the nice things as well about these distributions, and that's actually my personal favorite, if this microphone keeps hanging here, is the fact that mostly these distributions reuse existing software and contribute back to these software projects by ways of translations. Scholar Linux, for instance, well, for some reason there's a pretty small Norwegian-speaking population in the world as opposed to the English-speaking population in the world. So what Scholar Linux has as one of their primary targets is actually to translate a lot of software into Norwegian, which can be Nynorsk or Bokmål, because obviously they had two languages needed, written languages, but let's not go into that. But the best part is they are contributing to the bigger ecosystem of open source by simply contributing those back to their respective communities. Well, why is open source in education so valuable? Floris already mentioned a couple of reasons, but, well, myself, I have learned most of the things that I know right now by simply being a copycat. I looked at a best practice in some area and I decided to adopt my own way of doing it, and well, this basically works the same for a lot of people. And the best part about open source software is that you can simply take a look, obviously, at the source code and learn from that. The applicability of open source in education is therefore, well, simply, it makes sense. It really makes a lot of sense because your courses are already in the source code. You obviously need validation around that, and you need to make it compatible to the curriculum, but the learning material is the software itself. So let's focus a little bit on what there is already done in that area. Dutch government actually has quite a lot of focus, I should say has had a lot of focus on contributing to enabling educational facilities to use open source software. There have been several programs around that. And you see actually within the usage of certain educational courses, there is quite a high rate of adoption of open source projects for the simple reason that they can be used for free. Myself, I also write courses for MBO, application management and development courses, and I use a lot of open source software examples in my modules because students can simply use that. download it and use it. So there is quite a lot, but it hasn't been shared very well. There are a couple of knowledge exchange networks to facilitate that. In the Netherlands we have Kennisnet, SurfNet, and Belgium, etc. In Belgium there's an exchange of knowledge between a couple of universities, which is mostly being done on personal basis between teachers. And well, when we were developing the Drupal Training Day material and the actual day itself, we had quite a nice interaction with a couple of teachers from the work field themselves, and we also asked them, hey, what would you actually want? What do you need to use open source software within your courses? And the answer we got back was mainly, well, we do know that there's a lot of systems we can use. We do know the reasons why open source and education are, well, logically compatible. But what we don't have is methods which are actually validated against the normal curricula of a education, because, well, there simply is a specification of what an educational course should deliver by means of knowledge components, and you simply have to fill in the blanks. So what we decided to do is start Drupalonderwijs. And Drupalonderwijs, onderwijs is for education obviously, is based currently upon the Drupal ecosystem, but the whole notion is that it should be a tool or a platform which enables open source as a broader perspective to share knowledge, but share knowledge mostly tightly based on tangible, usable educational materials. So we want to develop modules and help develop modules which are directly applicable into MBO and HBO or applied sciences universities into the curricula. And we also have provided an LMS platform for that, which is Opinio, which is actually the instance that Floris has just demoed. And what we want to do is simply invite most notably teachers and educational facilities to simply start discussing and contributing materials there. We also want to actively promote and link and refer to existing materials like LPI essentials, stuff like that. But what we definitely would like to do is to assist in developing actual usable course materials and examinations, because actually the blueprints for those courses are freely available. We can simply look them up at the Ministry of Education. The blueprints for the examinations are freely available. You can also look them up. So if we want to enable students to be using open source software, and well, as a business owner myself, I definitely would want to have people being educated better in open source and open standards, because it's simply valuable knowledge. If you are what they call a hybrid knowledge maintainer, so you can maintain both Windows and Linux, your market price is incredibly higher than simply one of both choices. Actually, we're hearing interesting stories from the field that teachers from educational facilities who have been trained to educate people in both Windows and Linux are being hired themselves by companies because of the hybrid knowledge. So we need to enlarge the ecosystem, and we need to offer more applicable materials, because that's one lesson that we have to learn from closed source vendors who have done that very well. What they've done is not only pour all their money into marketing, they're very well at that, but also what they've done is simply help and develop tangible building blocks for educational facilities to use. So if you want to have any traction in that, you will have to do that yourself, and that's why we decided to start Drupalonderwijs. And like I said, the goal is to enable teachers to reuse and contribute to high quality course materials. Also be able to, by peer review, improve the quality of those materials. So, well, there's a call to action to you. Help us with that, please. Now we get to Q&A part. If you want to applaud, then please do. I wouldn't mind.